Hi, everybody. This is Maya Motzek coming to you live from upstate New York. Hey, Shulin. This is my very first Periscope broadcast, so I have no idea how it's going to go. I've already hit a bunch of glitches, but it seems like we're on live and there's some people with us. How awesome. I had this beautiful idea that it would be fun to talk about finding your freedom through freakouts in a really beautiful place where you can't imagine any freakout happening. So I drove down to the Hudson River to this place I love to kind of sit in quiet contemplation, and there's like trains and boats and families with screaming children. So I'm in my car, but I'm not freaking out, unlike what I was doing yesterday, and I'm going to tell you all about that and all of the really surprising things that I learned about what you can get that's good out of a freak out. Hi, everybody. I'm not actually seeing who's here. I'm just seeing some numbers, but I'm not necessarily seeing... Let's see. I see Rita. Hi, Rita. I'm just figuring this out. Let's see. No, I think I just flipped you away from me so you can see my view in the park. Oh. All right, I want to make sure you guys can all hear me, though. Can you send me some hearts if you can hear me? I would love to just know. I'm gonna open my door. I'm sweaty now. Let's see. My beautiful plan to bring you guys to the Hudson River did not work. Okay. So I'm not seeing any names other than when you first show up, but I see a few people are here with us. So I'm just going to assume it's working. If it's not working, we're going to try again next time. So my name is Maya Motzek. For those of you who may not be familiar with what I do, I'm a life alignment coach and a writer, and I love to mine all of our personal experiences for insight and for spiritual and emotional and personal growth. So what I'm going to be talking to you about today is about freaking out. I think we've all been there. We all have our own personal style, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about what yours might be, and I'm certainly going to be telling you a lot about what mine is, because I saw it in full force yesterday. And it was unpleasant. Freaking out is unpleasant, right? Let me tell you a little bit of the story about what happened and who I showed up as, which was not my best self. I live in a beautiful area in Kingston in upstate New York, in a small city, and I have a gorgeous apartment overlooking the river, and every once in a while a big event happens. So yesterday was Italian festival day, and so that meant that thousands of people descended on my neighborhood, and there was live music, and a lot of people thought that was fun, right? It meant that I had a lot of noise, opera singing, seriously, in my apartment. And like I said, I'm a life coach and a writer, and I do a lot of sort of internal work, and I had been up since 4 a.m. writing, and I was actually handling it really well until I decided to go to the store to get some chicken for a chicken soup. And it turns out that a lot of people who didn't live where I live had parked in my driveway. And, as I think about it now, I don't have any emotional attachment to it, but in the moment I freaked out and I got really emotional. I got angry. I got upset, and I started to speak very strongly to some people who were in my driveway. You have to understand there's a blank field, like an empty field next to me that had about 50 cars in it and a couple dozen motorcycles. So it was overflowing. So people were starting to pull into my driveway, and I couldn't get out. They had blocked me in. And something about that really triggered me. And I'm smiling now, but I got very angry and got out of my car and just basically spoke strongly to people and said, "You're trespassing. You can't be here." And, of course, they let me out, and I went to the store, and what I noticed was I couldn't let it go. I was so angry that when I got to the store, I saw the frozen yogurt, and I just bought myself a frozen yogurt and sat in the car, just kind of had a conversation with myself, but I couldn't get over it. This pulse in my neck was going, and I was so mad. So I started texting with a friend, and she said something really interesting to me. She said, "It sounds like your boundaries have been violated." And that was sort of the first aha that I had on this moment, because you know how we often reach out to our friends for agreement? Like, I could have gotten in touch with her and said, "These people are wrong. What jerks that they're parking in my parking lot. Don't you agree?" But instead she said, "Well, let's see what we can figure out about you in this situation and what you need." It was really awesome. Hi, I see some more people have joined, but you know what? This is my first Periscope, and so I can't see how to get to you guys to say hi to you directly. Hi. Thank you so much for joining me. And I don't see any comments. I don't know. I'm going to try one more time. What does it say? Swipe down to stop. I don't want to do that. Double tap to flip camera. I don't know. Will somebody send me a heart just so I can see if you hear me and we're alive and communicating? You know how to do that? You tap your screen at the bottom. I know how to view a Periscope. All right. Anyway, I'm going to keep going because if you're still hanging out here, I'm assuming you can hear me. So, I don't know. Think about a time when you really wigged out about something, when you really freaked out. And it was like completely beyond your control. I, in fact, was reminded of my dad yesterday. My dad had a real rage problem. When I lived abroad for a year and he came to pick me up at the airport, he and my sister came to pick me up. And as we were driving out of the airport, he had an altercation with a toll booth operator and actually got out of the car as if to threaten this toll booth operator. So, of course, I never wanted to be like that, but I've had a lot of rage in my life. Yesterday was mild compared to who I used to be, but I didn't like seeing this part of me come back, you know, this angry, ragey person who felt victimized. I felt really victimized by what had happened. So I wound up going back to the building and just sort of felt steamed for the rest of the afternoon, like I couldn't shake it off. But I was texting with this friend who kept sort of giving me instruction in how to figure out what was going on. And it wasn't until today when I went to the gym to work out and I had parked at the back of the gym and I came out of the gym after my workout. And it's so interesting. This has never happened before in all the months I've been going to this gym. I was blocked in, like there were vans and cars that had pulled in behind me and trapped me at the gym so I couldn't get out. And I was completely calm about it. I was like, oh, you guys are working on the mural? How cool to see you here. No freak out. So what does that mean? What did that mean? So what I have learned is that we usually think when we have freakouts that there's just a few choices, like I can just freak out and I deserve to. Like I felt yesterday like I deserved to, but I've done a lot of work on myself. So I thought I don't want to be this person. I don't want to feel this way. And I don't want to be this person who takes out my freak out on other people. So we can choose freak out, or often we'll just kind of try to get a grip on ourselves, you know, or medicate like I was sort of doing with the frozen yogurt, which wasn't a binge like in the past, but it was, you know, trying to calm myself down and soothe myself. Or we can kind of pretend it's not happening and go into denial. So that's sort of like we all have our own personal style, right? Like my dad was this self-righteous rageaholic. My mom, this is a good place to look for your styles, actually. My mom was like kind of a repress it and don't overreact. I was told I was very dramatic and always overreacting, which yesterday I started to actually question about myself. I trust my emotions to lead me to my truth. And so it was just a matter of stepping away from the freak out to find some freedom around why I had freaked out in the first place and how I didn't ever have to feel that way ever again. And one of the things that I recognized is that I have been craving living in a cabin in the woods for years. And I have been making myself live in this very busy, bustling downtown neighborhood of a small city, but of a city for the past 3 years. And it wasn't that these other people had crossed my boundaries. It was that I had crossed my own boundaries. And the message had to get really loud and clear so that I would stop ignoring it. So I sat in meditation this morning and I communed with that part of myself and came up with sort of an agreement about we're going to look for a new place to live. I mean, what else is there for me to do at this point? Because, you know, we can sort of say like, suck it up. That's another way that people sort of will tell you to deal with your freakouts. But that doesn't solve the problem ultimately if this part of you, your soul, is trying to speak to you. You know, so when we look at, like when I was looking at my parents' approach to freaking out, either my mom, repress it, push it down, don't do it, or my dad, just give into it in this really kind of outrageous, crazy way, no matter how your daughters in the car might feel, or this toll booth worker, like that sort of a thing. And I started to see that we're not really taught how to freak out in a way that's productive or useful. And I really think that one of the things that's productive and useful, because I believe in finding our own personal liberation. I think that's probably my main goal in life, is like, how do I liberate myself from all the things that make me feel trapped or stuck? And so I think what I would like to share with you, the big gold, the main gold that I got was, no, I need to honor my soul. My soul is speaking to me, and I'm going to need to move to a cabin in the woods. And in the meantime, I'm going to meditate more. That was the other thing I got, because if I can't change the outside right away, I can really work to strengthen that inner cabin in the woods feeling, even if I can't have it right now on the outside. And I also saw just how my childhood gave me permission to freak out, but not permission to handle it. Like, I could have handled it differently. And one of the things that I saw afterwards was that I have this belief that if you tell people what you want, they will use it against you. And so I kept waiting for someone like my landlord or these trespassers to do something about my problem instead of actually taking an active, adult, mature stand for myself. And so the gold that I got out of this experience was move, meditate more, and some beliefs that I'd had and some ways that I'd been indoctrinated into dealing with intense emotions or not dealing from my family of origin. And so today, even when I was thwarted in my attempt to go down to the Hudson River, I didn't freak out, ran to the car. I'm a little glistening for you here because I dashed over to the car, but I'm cool with it. It's okay. There isn't this sense of a boundary being overrun or that I can't handle it. So I think I was hoping I'd be able to communicate with you beautiful people. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can see some messages from you, because I know I'm supposed to be able to see that, and I would love to be able to hear what you're thinking. Ooh, let's see. Maybe I hid the chat. No, I want to unhide the chat. Bear with me while I try this. If you have something you'd like to say, what you could do is maybe you're already friends with me. I can't even see everybody who's on here. I see we have a few people with us. Come see me on Facebook. My new website is going to be up probably in the next month, but it's Maya Motzek at Facebook. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Let me try this one more time. Anyway, okay. I see some of you are leaving. You guys were wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to see you over on my page on Facebook to talk about freaking out and finding freedom in the freak out, because we can't avoid them. It's not finding freedom from the freak outs, it's finding freedom through the freak outs. And let me try this one more time. If I can see anybody here. I cannot. I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to do a little more Periscope research for next time. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Come see me on Facebook and tell me you were here and what you thought and what came up for you around finding freedom through a freak out. All right, ciao.